Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you are. How are you all? And g'day, Jim.
Good day, Peter. How are you, sir?
Could be better. I slept in, didn't I?
That's no worries. Like I was saying, 4 a.m.
Actually,
early
I
call.
did. Yeah, I did actually. My alarm did go off, and I thought it's all right, another 5 minutes, and well,
Yeah.
5 minutes
Yep.
turned
I
into,
I made a working life out of that. The snooze button on all my alarm clocks got a good workout. Same thing with my phone.
Yeah, so it was an extra half hour, and I looked and I go, holy shit, it's 4:05. Shit. Anyway, I made it. Do I need this light on? I'm just thinking, do I need the light on?
I don't know. Let's get some feedback from the audience. What does everybody else think out there? First of all, hello to everyone. This is Jim. This is the man behind the Groucho Marx avatar. Or what is that called? That little symbol that shows up next to our names. Is that an avatar?
Oh, it confuses me all the time. And
yeah,
that's
I'm not
the one. Yeah.
I'm not very tech savvy. So.
All right. Well, let's have a look and see who's in chat. Because wow, sorry, everybody's been waiting. Boy, I've really done a late one, haven't I? Beat that Ice Queen. I came in very late.
Oh, it is an avatar. Okay, thanks. Who was that? Told me.
Right. So we got Jeff.
Gary. Thank you, Gary.
Gary's there. Hobby Time's there.
Yep.
Jim from Chicago's there.
Yeah, almost from Chicago. Jeff Donahue's there. Wayne Saunders, Stephen Haynes, Gremlins Modeling Mayhem. Yep. Paul Price. Good day, mate.
Anthony Jones. Geez, g'day, mate. That sounded almost Aussie then. Very good.
I'll tell you something, Peter. Since I've been watching you and Jason and a lot of the guys from the UK, I'm not trying to pander to anybody or sound like I'm hip or anything, but I'm using the word mate more and more often. Now I understand that it can go a few ways in how it's meant to be presented to someone. Sometimes it can be like your friend. Other times it could be I don't know about you, mate.
That's right. Like that. That's right.
Okay, well, I'm learning, but yeah, I was on for. Did you catch us last Saturday? Jason started early. It was 8:00 my time, and we were on for 2 hours with a couple other guys.
Yeah, I saw a bit of it at the beginning. Yeah,
that was a good time. I tell you what, I love going live. It's not only that, but I mean, just being in the chat. It's the whole internet thing is really, for me anyway, invigorated my enthusiasm toward the hobby because I can now connect with people. Talk shop, hang out, build models if I want to while others are at it, and connect you with you live. I mean, this is great. And once again, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's great. That's good. Yeah, it's been a while since I've had anyone else on the show.
Got me Three Stooges mug, too. Got me Three Stooges mug. That's a favorite of mine. Those are my guys.
Talking about mug, I am going to finish. I'm just going to, my water's boiled. I'm going to make my coffee because I need my coffee.
Oh, yeah. I bet you do.
There we go. Yeah. That's good. All right. I'm good now. We're good. Yeah.
So how's things in Thailand? I know you know the area really well where you're living, but how are you fitting in? How's everything for you since you moved there?
Yeah, it's doing all right. Yesterday I did something I haven't done before, and I ordered what you in America would call takeout.
Okay.
And I got delivery of pizza. I had a pizza delivered.
Oh, awesome. Great.
So a little bit of change from the Thai food, rice and noodles and stuff, I thought,
yeah,
I'll give this delivery service a go. And sure enough, Yeah, it was really nice. I had the old well-known traditional ham and pineapple pizza.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of
medium.
unique toppings for me, but I know
Yeah.
we there's a lot of places in America where you can get all kinds of toppings on a pizza. It really is like almost like an artist easel.
They had a couple. There was the usual, just the chicken pizza. You can get just a pepperoni supreme pizza and a few others, but it wasn't very big though. I guess their version of a medium pizza was what we call small size, so it was probably about this big.
Okay.
But for what was it, $5 delivered, can't complain. Yeah.
Well, that's not bad. I mean, hope you liked it. Was it a thin crust or?
Oh, it was just like it back home. It was fine. Okay. It was really good. Right.
Yeah. I'm spoiled. Growing up in Chicago. New York City's got their pizza. Chicago has ours, but just want to say one thing that it's not only deep dish pizza that Chicagoans eat. Since I was a kid, we always had a good local neighborhood pizza parlor that turned out an awesome thin crust pizza, and you could find that in every neighborhood in Chicago, because Chicago is they call it a city of neighborhoods, and
right,
they've got the deep dish stuff started in the early 70s, I believe, with a couple of guys downtown, and it kind of branched out from there, but it is not solely deep dish pizza in Chicago. It's a lot of good thin crust and a lot of different areas of the city you can get it from. So, but I'm glad you were able to shake your your routine up a little bit. I like to do that now and then myself.
Yeah, there we go.
I think you're better. I think you're better with.
I think it's better off.
Yeah,
it is too. You'll notice I've changed the position around a bit, so I got the camera facing down across this way now, rather than looking at my bathroom door.
Right.
We're looking at my front door now, actually. So.
Well, I had to move my stuff into my front room. There's a little, it's actually intended to be a walk-in closet, but when I moved in here, I live in the basement apartment of my best friend's home. And when I mean best friend, I've known him since I was 5. We've known each other 50 years. We grew up on the same block together in Chicago. And he's been living out here almost 30 years. And back in 2019, I moved out here. Long story boring. What I did was I had to take my computer and my power pack and everything else I wanted to have handy up here because the router is right above me. And the range of it isn't quite enough because last week when I joined Jason, I was getting kicked off. And I finally figured it out. It was me. So when I moved to where I am now, the signal was coming through loud and clear. And I didn't have a problem after that. So I made sure everything was in order this afternoon before we went live. I even shaved extra close, and trimmed my beard. Oh. So got my best Motorhead shirt on.
Motorhead shirt, yeah. Very presentable. Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. I always like to get people a little bit early, just doing a sound camera check and make sure everything's working properly. But well, that was pointless this morning, wasn't it?
Well, I could tell that I was there because on my screen I'm seeing it. It's it said you're backstage. The host can see you. Be ready when he may call you at any moment. So I knew I was ready, and I figured that something was up. At first I thought maybe he's in traffic. I'm like, no, it's 3:30 in the morning there. There's no traffic. At least I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe there is.
No, there is no traffic. In fact, I'm just going to grab my phone as well. I'm so unorganized. There we go. Because I'll tell you a bit of a story. It's not a happy story, but I was going to keep I actually turned the volume down on my phone last night. Because that's all right. Oh, nobody out there messaged me to help wake me up, did they? No. Okay. Just let me sleep in through the show. Yeah, I get it. I thought, there'll be messages for people. Wake up, Pete. Wake up, Pete. Not one of you's out there. All right. No, your mates are. All right. So, on a bit of a not so happy note, I had a bit of a what would we call it? A family emergency this week. There almost wasn't going to be a live stream today, but we're all good. So unfortunately, my father ended up in hospital back in Australia. He was rushed to hospital with I never remember the name. The bad flu that ends with an A.
Influenza?
Yes, influenza A.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'm sorry, Gary. I'm sorry, Peter. How's he doing?
Well, to make it worse, he ended up with sepsis as well.
Okay. Yes.
Now they're treating him for pneumonia. Treating him for pneumonia at the moment. He's in intensive care right now in Australia. And unfortunately, my sister contacted me and rang me. The doctors, the first night he was in there, actually rang to ask if he would choose to be on life support if it came to that. So we knew it was quite serious. So we're like, wow, okay. So
I'm sorry.
So anyway, she's back there dealing with it all the moment and sorting things out, and I'm just hoping everything's going to be okay. So
yeah, so do I. I know what that's like. I lost both my parents quite a few years ago, and
so anyway, we'll see what happens, and hopefully everything will turn out okay. But at this point, his breathing has improved a bit. That's as far as we know. But as for his organs being affected by the sepsis, which causes your body to shut down,
yes,
it's not improving, is what I've been told. So we'll see what happens.
I don't know what to say, Peter, except that I'll pray for your father, and I really do hope, because that sounds pretty serious. How old is he?
He's 82. He's 82, but he's a very large person. He's nothing like skinny me. He's a big guy, and that's probably that is definitely not helping.
Well, no, that doesn't help. I mean, the old saying is, the older you get, the less you should carry. And
he's not very mobile, and he became not very mobile. He had a couple of falls and hurt his knees, and then it just went downhill a bit from there when he started just not moving so much. And you just, you got to keep active. You got to keep active.
I agree. I'm 59, going to be 60 in August, and I'm not liking that thought, but I try to keep myself active and deal with whatever health issues I have to face as I age. And
thanks to everybody. Thanks for all the good work out there, everyone.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Peter?
I'm just saying thanks to everybody, all their comments in chat.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, thanks everyone. Yeah, that's great.
On a good note, I went into the hospital the other day, not for good reasons. I had to get another blood test while I was over here, so to check on my PSA, which is your prostate levels.
Right.
It was up high.
Very important.
When I left Australia, and I was told to get it retested over here, and it was higher, which wasn't good, but it wasn't too high to be a concern. But then the doctor said, "We'll come back in a month when you're a bit more used to the food and the climate, and your body's adapted more, and your result will probably be a bit more accurate." And sure enough, I went back and got the result the other day, and it's come back down. So
that's good.
So that's a good thing too. So
well, speaking
that's why I celebrated with pizza yesterday.
Well, as far as the prostate goes, I don't know how true this is, but I heard that tomatoes are a good source of antioxidant regarding the prostate for us guys. I could be wrong on that, but might have heard that. Heard that a few years back. Who knows? Maybe something's refuted it since, but there are ways around it. Healthy diet, exercise, things like that. So the basics are good. I was going to ask you, how's the climate over there? Has that smoke kind of dissipated? Have people stopped burning their crops?
No, it hasn't changed. It's
bummer. Oh man, wow.
Probably the the last 2 days, like I like going for morning walks, and
So do I.
mainly because it's not so hot. But the morning, I could actually taste the smoke, and my eyes a little bit. I could feel it in my eyes a little bit. It literally was like, it's like the house next door's on fire. That's how thick the smoke can be. So it's a major thing. It's a bad thing here. It's happens every
that's
year.
pretty serious for anyone. I mean,
it's not
good
as
health
bad
or
as
not.
last
Breathing
year,
in smoke every day is not healthy for you.
Yeah, but it will definitely ease off next week and into May, because the problem is that they're predicting that the wet season's starting late this year, and that the rain is what puts out the fires and gets rid of the smoke, and that's the end of the burning season, as they call it. So,
well, here's hoping that it comes your way, because
it was unusual. About a week ago, it actually rained a little bit. A storm came across, and some rain came down, and the rain coming through the atmosphere actually caused the smoke to become ash, and there was ash. It was bringing ash down with the rain. It was quite unusual to see, It's like you're living at the base of a volcano or something.
Yeah. Well, last summer we had weather alerts for quite some time. Can't remember what month, whether it was July or August. Well, there were wildfires up in Canada, in Nova Scotia, I believe, is where they started from. And the smoke was drifting to the south and west, and it drifted across our area here in the Midwest. And so for a few weeks there, we had a haze in the sky, even on a clear blue sky, sunny day. We had a haze in the air, and that was the smoke.
Yeah. I think where are we? I'm just looking in chat there. No, they're not. It's not wildfires. They're deliberately burning off the season's crops to start the new season's crops. So it's all the farmers burning off, sugarcane, and it's not just around Chiang Mai, the city here. It's all across Thailand, but it's mostly in the north, because this is where they mostly farm it. But it's also the neighboring countries as well. So Myanmar, Burma, is not far. It's only like 50 miles away. So that country does the same. And so does Laos to the east. They do all the burning as well. So a lot of the time, the governments here are blaming the other countries and the smoke's being blown into Thailand. But that's all bullshit, all right, because there's no wind. There's no wind, and the city is in like a basin.
Oh, here. Like in a valley.
So how could smoke be coming from other countries if there's no wind? And if the wind's blowing from let me work it out. It's northeast. So most of the time the wind comes in from the southwest, which would be Burma, if anything. But how can they blame a country on the other side over in the east when, smoke's only going to go the direction of the wind? Wind doesn't go in both directions, does it? It's not wildfire, although a lot of it probably may get out of control. And we have seen helicopters going over with the water to dump on fires. And the big mountain that overlooks Chiang Mai called Doi Satep, it was on fire one night at the top of that mountain. I couldn't see it from where I am, but there were photos of it all lit up from the fires that, out of control. So,
hey, we got Crazy Loca on the move again, gifting 5 memberships.
Oh, look at that. Crazy. Everybody get out there and jump up and down and grab a membership. He's handing them out again. He's giving out 5 memberships and been randomly thrown out. Good on you, mate. There we go. Look at that.
Yeah.
Ring the bell. There we go.
Thumbs up. Ring the bell. Wash your hands, nerds, before your thumbs go up.
That's it.
Well, Crazy Loja, we love you. We love you, Loja. You're a great guy. Good man.
Good on you, buddy. Thank you very much, and thank you from all the lucky people who just got a free membership for the channel. And that's brilliant. That's great. And while we're talking about that, and I know it's not model related, not that we've spoken about anything modeling.
Not yet. We're getting there.
At 8 o'clock this morning, my time, which is in about 3.5 hours, I'm going to do another live stream from my other channel here about my retirement here in Thailand and my experience. So I'm doing my first live stream on that channel.
Okay.
And
great.
If anybody's interested, I've changed the name of that channel to something a little bit more easy for people to remember and find. And so my new channel name is called Discovering Thailand. How about that? Isn't that a good name?
Well, that sounds a little bit more easier on the ears and easier to remember. You got a link for it?
I've got a friend who's helping me build up that channel into something substantial. And we were just amazed that channel name was available. So yeah, I haven't got the link for it. Gosh.
Well, it's funny. Some people have been asking me about this, live event coming up. Like, do you have a link for it? And I had to confess, it's like I really don't know how to do any of that. So I just suggested kind of how I found all these channels. I get a name, I put it in the YouTube search, and there it comes up, and then I subscribe, and I'm in. Right. So that's I understand. I mean, I don't know I don't even know how to set up a link or how to. I know how to click on one, but I don't know how to make one. So I mean, hope you understand.
I'll get that link. I'll find that link. There it is. Oh, look, I'm subscribed. Good on you. Where are we? There we go. I'll copy that. Control copy. We'll come back. I'll throw that down in the chat for everybody.
Great, because I want to check it out too.
Because I know that a lot of you guys do follow me on that channel and are interested in my daily exploits or what I get up to.
I must have heard you mention that once or twice before, but I for some reason I don't remember it. But I'm glad you're leaving a link because I want to check it out because that's only going to be a few hours for me. Yeah, I see it. There it is. Okay, great. I got it. I'm just gonna link onto that right now. And subscribe.
It's probably going to be way too late at night for anybody in the UK. It's difficult trying to get a time when I can get up and do something like that and be available for everyone. But I'll do another link, maybe. I'll do another live stream probably next week that would be more suitable for the UK viewers.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just a few hours away for me. I'll have time to get get a meal in and everything else. I mean, I don't think Jason's got anything going this week. I think if I remember last week right, I said I think he's skipping a week and then he's going to come back the Saturday after this one.
Right.
Or the Sunday for you guys. Excuse me. You guys are on the other side of the date line, so
that's right. We are.
So if I think he's going back to his usual start time for them in Australia. So that's going to be about around 1 or 2 a.m. for me. But that's all right. I don't mind. I'm retired, so my sleeping regimen is all off since I stopped working.
Yeah. James is mentioning there. He saw my interview I did with one of the other YouTubers here in Thailand.
Okay.
That went really well. He interviewed me, and that was fantastic. And that was good.
So how's the M3 Lee going? I really like that you bought that model and are working on it, man. I mean, I like your motorcycles and your buses, but got to admit, I'm an armor guy myself, and so when I saw that, I was like, wow, I hope he works on that regularly because that's
I do. It's coming up really well, slowly. If you can see,
it looks good.
All the interior. I'll probably start doing some of the weathering today. There's a few mistakes in the instructions, so hopefully those who decide to watch my videos will not make the mistakes that could happen. For example, the two guards that sit on either side they will actually be above where the tracks go. It doesn't tell you to paint them when you fit it. and you think, all right, well, that's okay. That's part of the external tank. I'll paint that in the olive drab later on. But later on in the build, you've got to build all the boxes and all the control panels and bits that sit on here, and then you fit them. And I think, well, why would I be doing that? That's all interior stuff, and it's not painted. And I don't want to paint it after I've fitted all these because they're black, they're green, they're all different colors. There's the missiles, some of the armor shells.
Oh,
so
yeah.
What I realized was back when they tell you to fit these two sides on, they should have also had the color code and told you to paint it white, do it white, because that's part of the interior. So I ended up having to cover this up, cover all the parts so I wouldn't get any overspray, and I managed to do it white, and it should be okay now. The underside will be okay because that's the external part of the tank.
Right.
But that top bit needs to be done white. And there's a few things in the instructions throughout the build where, there was another piece, where this little round, I know you can't see, but that little round piece sits on the little round peg in there, and it doesn't fit because there's a little tab that sticks out underneath, and it won't fit flush against the piece. There's a gap, and it's a round piece on a round piece. You can't fit it wrongly. I'm not doing it wrong. It's just this tab is sticking out that's supposed to be there. The only alternative you have is to cut that tab off, or you can't get the piece on. Fortunately, this whole piece sits in the tank here, and it's on the bottom side, and you would never see where you cut that piece off. But it's the only way you'll get it to fit properly. So that's one of the whole points of me doing my videos, is that when people go out and buy a model, they can watch somebody else build it and come across things like that so that they won't get stuck or make a mistake or put something where it doesn't belong. And it's particularly with MiniArt where there are just so many pieces.
I was going to ask you with MiniArt, how does the kit build? Do you like the way it's constructed? Is it difficult to put the pieces together?
You need very good eyesight or a pair of these.
I'm ready. Right? I got those. Yep. Those are a regular part of my modeling now.
Yeah, me too. I can't build models without them.
Yep.
Whatever scale.
I agree.
It's going together fine. There's a lot of tiny pieces, but that's part of what I like.
Right.
And building a tank is like I've never built an aircraft. Okay, so I've got to do something about that. But I think part of building an aircraft is doing the cockpit. People love doing the cockpit and all that detail work, right? When you're building a tank like this that's going to show off the interior, 80% of the whole build is like building a cockpit.
Yeah.
It's all that detail part, and it's I really enjoy seeing it come together. And when I did all the weathering of the engine bay on the back of that tank, and I put the engine in there, most of that you won't see, but it came up and it looks really good. But it was a good way to practice before I hit the actual drivers and cruise compartment.
Yeah. Well, the Lee has a lot of hatches, and those big side doors open up. So if you want to, you can have that thing on, with all the hatches open, and then you'll have full display of the, a good display of the interior. The engine compartment got a couple of big doors that open up in the back, and you can see part of it. So you do have your options. Do you watch the Australian Artillery and Armor Museum channel?
Yes. Yeah, I actually watched them. Yeah, they restored that tank. I watched that. That was great.
That's a beautiful piece of work. And that interior is identical to the Lee. There may have been a few bits and pieces moved around because the Grant was the British version and the Lee was the American. So there might have been a few things here and there, but basically it's the same vehicle.
It is. And another thing about watching the video about that was that I learnt what all these parts are I'm putting together, because nowhere in the instructions, anywhere through all of this, is there a single word naming a single part.
No, you glue 5B to 6D. That's it.
That's it. That you don't know what any of these parts are, which I think MiniArt could do a lot better
Well,
At least
I'll tell you what,
Tamiya
Peter.
do.
A lot of the today's manufacturers, especially the Chinese manufacturers, Tacom and Meng and stuff, they'll give you the instructions. And frankly, I don't know. You've been watching Jeff Donahue's build on the Vomag, that Das Work
Yeah.
kit he's working on.
Yeah.
Those instructions are, not all that good. Frankly, I think they could have done a whole lot better job of helping the modeler with it. Border is the same way. I'm building a Border 88 millimeter anti-tank gun, and I was. I didn't bin it. I did shelve it though because I was just getting so frustrated with the instructions and the vague, minute attachment points. Oh boy!
Yeah.
But what I wanted to ask you was how the instructions on the MiniArt kit are there? Do you notice that there's some things that it's like if anyone's going to build a kit, would you say, hey, better study these instructions carefully?
Oh yes, yeah.
Okay,
I would.
Okay, because I do the same thing with Dragon. I build a lot of Dragon armor kits. I like them. Some people don't. They're a bit too complicated, or not complicated, but overthought. But I'm used to it. I've been building them a long time. But I tell people, be ready and study the instructions carefully. It's best to actually open up the model kit and take the parts out of the bags, and you can understand, because sometimes their instructions are off too. I mean, I built a Jeep, a really nice Jeep. It was a nice model. I mean, they make great stuff, but the instructions are just terrible. I mean, it was so frustrating because they didn't show parts on the kit, and it wasn't, if you didn't study it and do your detective work, you're like, wait a minute, you're showing a part installed. And you go back to the instructions, and there's nowhere in the instructions prior to that it shows you the part going in.
That's right.
It's maddening. And a lot of these new kits, they're expertly made, great stuff. But boy, unlike Tamiya, which I'll blow their horn every day. They really do help the modeler, and they help you make it a good experience of building the kit, not just painting it, but building it.
Yeah. No, that's all completely right. That's right. And the other thing with them too, with these instructions, is that they you need to be looking ahead quite often, because sometimes you'll come across a part that the location's not 100%. Like there may not be a location point, and you think, oh, does that go there? Does that look right? For instance, you won't be able to see, but there's a little hook, little piece that it's part of the gun barrel, and it's a little hook that sits here that actually holds the shell in place, right?
Okay.
And when you look at the instructions, you go, okay, there's the arrows, and it's telling me it goes in there, and you think, all right, no problem. But then the best way to check is go ahead and see if you can find another picture that shows it from another angle. But there are times when I've gone ahead and looked at the part showing me, and pictures ahead will show what you're working on there, but it won't show that part fitted.
Right.
It's like it's not. The detail's not there.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned that is that I'm finding that with kits myself, where it's like, okay, wait a minute, it's showing me to put this in. How does it look? And then you go maybe to the next one or two sequences after that in the instructions. You're like, wait a minute, I better get this part, and this part off the tree and ready, because I've got to see how those fall in place behind this one that they want me to glue now.
Yeah.
And I see a comment here from James Carnahan, and he says instructions made by modelers as opposed to CAD designers. I agree. That's why I like companies like Wingnut Wings and Katari.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Tamiya is modelers making it, or they're just very well trained CAD designers, but modelers building models for modelers, I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah. I noticed the Edard kit, the instructions for the Spitfire up there they're very good, very detailed.
Yes, Edward. I'll tell you, when I first I built two Edward kits. Well, the first one was an Aussie Spitfire, the Mark 8, the Gray Nurse. That was my first one, and that kind of took me by surprise. They had a lot of parts going to some assemblies that, I'd been building models from the 90s and 80s up to that point, and it was a lot of stuff going into one basic assembly. So it took me a little while to get used to it. In fact, I do want to get another Edward Spitfire In fact, the one Jason's making, that Mark 5C, and make it the Aussie version with the white tail, because I kind of want to get it right. I kind of want to make good on my mistake, because I really fumbled through that Spitfire. Thank goodness I painted it well. I like it. Before we're done, I'll go grab it. I got it in my display case, but I'd like you to see it. But anyhow, I then built the Wildcat last year. A friend of mine got me that for my birthday, and that builds up very well. It's a basic kit, but it builds up very easily, very, very firmly, and it kind of restored my faith in Eduard. In other words, I think I'm going to build more Eduard airplane kits, but frankly, I have most of the subjects that they make already in my stash. You know what I'm saying? I got like a Tamiya kit or some older models of it. And it's like, okay, I don't know if I want to put another kit on the shelf to do sometime down the road, because I don't know about you, but I in the last few years I've been going to swap meets and selling off some of my stash, because I'm just never going to build them all. I've got almost 150.
Yeah, that's right. Most people are saying that. You're getting a question asked in there. What's your opinion on the Trumpeter kits?
Trumpeter. Well, I built 2 models. One I haven't completed yet, but I started, and one I did finish. I like them. I mean, I think that from what I remember, their instructions weren't too baffling. They didn't lead me down any kind of blind alleys. Model was pretty straightforward. One was a tank, one's an airplane. And detail is good. They give you a good value for their money. I mean, for the money you pay for them. So I don't have too much bad to say about Trumpeter, but I've heard that their effort at researching like shape and design, they kind of blow it on some kits. Like a lot of people don't like their British subjects. They seem to have messed up or buggered up, as some folks may say. Some of their British subjects, but I really don't know that from my own experience. But to me, Trumpeter's all right until I get one kit maybe one day that'll just dog me and be like, hey, no more Trumpeter, please. But no, I think they're okay. How about you? You built a Trumpeter kit?
Oh, I've done a few of the ships. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're warships. Now there you go. That's what I was talking about. Some of their like their Essex class carriers. Some of the shapes of the bows are off. From what I've heard, I haven't seen them myself. I've had people tell me, but I'd still like to build them. My one kit that I want to make in a ship, because they are very. It's either you make it really good, like Norwegian scale modeler. You seen that guy? That guy knocks me out. I can't believe how good he gets his stuff. He is a master of building small parts. Incredible. Yeah. Anyway, the one I would like to build is the original USS Lexington, the 350th scale Trumpeter Lexington, either CV3 or CV2, whichever one it was. The one that was sunk at Coral Sea.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah. No, I've done a few Trumpeter, and I find they're fine, not a problem. And when you're saying about the detail and the accuracy of the hull and parts like that, well, you got to look at the market of the people who you're selling to that are buying ships. I mean, ships aren't as popular a subject as cars and armor and things like that, and it all depends on the builder. I guess it goes for any builder to how much detail and accuracy you want to make it. But their instructions on Trumpeter are okay. It's a good base to work with, and there's it's not hard. I mean, the Yamato I did was Trumpeter, even though it came out under the name of Gallery Models and Glow 2B, but overall it was a Trumpeter model, and that was quite good. Even something different for them was all the photo etch they included. There was like about 15 sheets of photo etch.
Wow!
For detail
in the kit.
Out.
Holy
yeah,
cow,
that was included
lot.
In that kit. So.
Now, was that all the railings as well as like cranes?
Railings and the guns and so forth, but it was, it wasn't for the novice, that's for sure, because some of the parts were so small, and the photo etch wasn't like an optional, you could use this if you want. It was part of the kit. If you don't use the photo etch, you can't build the guns. Right. You'd have to go buy aftermarket stuff.
Right. Yeah, a lot of Ukrainian model makers, Dora Wings. A friend of mine is building the Dora Wings Volti Vengeance, and the bombs they give you that go in bomb bay. The fins on those bombs, they're standard American, World War II manufactured bombs. The bomb fins only come in photo etch. They don't give you a plastic alternative. And what this friend of mine's telling me, who's a good modeler, a very good modeler, and he's very good at photo etch. He said, "Yeah, it's be prepared. If you're going to build this kit, you want to put the bombs in there. Be ready. These things are a little tricky. They can be done, but it's going to take some thought, some patience, and a little bit of time, because it's your only option." And I asked him about that. I said, "Why is it that they don't provide an alternative?" He said, "A lot of those Eastern European manufacturers, they think photo etch, like MiniArt, Edward." They think photo etch for a lot of their parts, so they provide that in their mind. It's kind of standard.
That's right.
So
Jeff's mentioning there that the Mang whippet there didn't even have page numbers on the instructions. Yeah, I had something like that once. Not here, but one thing I noticed with the MiniArt one is that there's so much on a page. The steps go across, and then they might go down and then come back up. And sometimes your eyes trying to keep track, and you end up cutting off pieces for a step that you don't need yet because it's part of the next step.
Yes.
One of the tips I have is you get yourself a pen or a marker and draw blocks around each step and include everything included in that step so you can see exactly what you're doing. It just makes it not so overwhelming when you're looking at it,
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I've like I said, I've built a few Dragon kits, and I have a lot in my stash. And I remember one time I bought this one model at a swap meet, and I was, after I got back to the table I was at with my friends, I opened up the kit and I was looking at it. It was a really nice model. I mean, a really nice kit. I've always wanted it, and I got it. So I opened up the instructions, and it was like a full page spread like this. And I said, am I building a model or am I building a bridge?
Yeah.
Because if you've seen Dragon instructions, it is just mayhem. And that's why I say always study them, because it's definitely worth your time. You can really mess something up and go down a blind alley if you're not careful.
And I was going to ask everybody in chat, is Ice Queen having a live stream this evening? Because I think they do live stream the last Sunday of the month, which is today.
I thought they usually have one on. She usually has one on Tuesdays, and then I thought it was Sundays, right?
Saturday night, which is over there now. I just thought, because we crossed paths on our live stream, and it was usually the last weekend of the month. I'm wondering if she was having one this weekend.
I don't know. I'm subscribed to her channel. I gotta, you know what? I don't know about you, but sometimes these YouTube notification things slip out of what it'll slip down to like personal, and all of a sudden you're not getting notification for a channel you're regularly tuning into.
That's right. Yeah, I've had a few people tell me they're not getting notifications too.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out too for anyone out there who likes motorcycles, Harley Davidsons or whatever in the States there. There's my mate. I'll put his name there. Trip on Two Wheels. Okay. Check out his channel. This man is giving me a ton of advice and help on my channel to help grow it for my Thailand channel. And
is this the man you mentioned from America?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay. Cool. Great.
And it's fantastic.
Like Two Wheels.
All about thumbnails, all about your intros and the way you talk in the videos and content. And it's just building my channel up is just going great. It's fantastic. So,
that's good.
If you're into bikes and Harleys, get over there. Hey, we met because he found my channel because he's moving over to Thailand here in Chiang Mai. Although I'm trying to convince him to, the hot weather's turning him off. But
I'll tell you what, if anybody wants to regularly keep their figure trim, move to Southeast Asia. I bet you couldn't buy 250 pounds there if you tried.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
A friend of mine was he was an English teacher in Vietnam. He was there for a few years. In fact, he went on a cycling tour of Vietnam. Now, I don't know how far that was, because Vietnam's a pretty big country from north to south. You got a long way to go if you're going to go from Saigon all the way up to Hanoi. You know, so that's a long. But anyway, he was out there for a few years, and he was kind of a portly kind of guy when he left America. And last I saw him, he was he was definitely keeping the pounds off just by being there and eating the food. The food's a lot healthier than America too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's a great place. Yeah, my mate there, he's into mud crabs. So I've got to shout him a couple of mud crab meals when he comes over here. I'm not a seafood person. I wouldn't even know what a mud crab looks like. But
I never heard of it before. Just now when you mentioned it, is it mug or mud? Mud crab?
Mud crabs. Mud.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't mind shellfish. It's good for you.
Yeah.
So
anyway, well, so tell me. Let's. I'm going to hit you with a few questions since you're the guest on the panel. So, when did you pick up your first model? At what age?
Okay. All right. I'll give a brief resume. Try not to get too boring. Okay. I'm 59 years old, born and raised on the northwest side of Chicago, Illinois. Older brother who got me into model building. He built race cars, dragsters, funny cars, stock cars, anything pretty much American racing. He and two other guys were the kings of the rattle can in our neighborhoods back in the early 70s. They could paint a car and make it look like a real car, that deep gloss with the glass finish. Just beautiful stuff. Anyway, about 11 years old, I pick up my first model, and it was 1976. I bought it at the local 5 and dime store. It was a monogram 40A scale Hurricane Mark II kit, and I put it together in one afternoon, and I stole my sister's tempera paints, which is this water-based paint you use on like for artwork, like manila paper and stuff like that. I painted the model with some blue, and it all peeled off by the evening because it's water-based paint that is not like what we consider water-based paint in the modeling world. You know, it just all chipped off. So that was my first kit. And,
wow, you remember that in quite good detail. So how was the weather on that day?
Well, it was June of 1976, so it was your typical summer day for an 11-year-old boy. I walked about the 3 blocks to the 5 and dime store and picked it up, and then later that year, my best friend, who like I said, lives upstairs from me now. You know, we took a trip to the local hobby shop, which is about a couple miles away, and that was a long walk for us kids. You know, you're 11, 12 years old. It's like 2 miles. Wow, I'm really traveling. So I went to this shop, and I was just blown away by all I saw. I mean, I saw, you know, not just local manufacturers like Aurora, Monogram, Revell, MPC, blah, blah,
Airfix?
blah. But I saw Airfix, Frog, Heller, Fujimi, Nikimo, Otaki, ESCI, Artillery.
Okay.
Yeah, all these kits. It was like, man, look at this. What a world, you know? So I started, you know, buying models from these guys, and I was still building my monogram kits. They were the cheapest because they were right here in America. There were, you know, the Airfix and the Hasegawa and the other guys, they cost a little bit more. Tamiya, really top quality kits. They were, you know, especially their 1/700 ships. Those cost a few bucks. I would have had to save a few weeks allowance to build one of them or buy one of them. Wow. But anyway, you know, and so I stuck with it. I mean, I here I am, you know, almost 60, and it just kind of took.
Did you take a break though? Did life get in the way, and you sort of stopped
for a brief time? For a brief time,
yeah.
I'm a bachelor, never married, never had a family, no children.
Okay.
So I've been, you know, kind of just working and taking care of myself for a long time, and yeah, about a 7-8 year period. I remember it was in the 90s. I kept having to dust my models off, and I kept breaking little parts of them off while I was dusting them, and I just said, "The hell with this," and I just stopped for about 7-8 years, and then Christmas in '99, my sister got me an Accurate Miniatures Avenger TBF torpedo bomber. for a Christmas gift, and that started me up again. I went out, bought a new airbrush, bought a compressor, went through my paints, and I realized they were all pretty much done. I hadn't maintained them or anything, so I kind of just bought all brand new stuff, and that was almost 25 years ago, and I've been modeling steady ever since. And
Wow.
I love it. I mean, like I said earlier, the internet has helped me expand my love for the hobby because I can connect. Look what we're doing. We're talking thousands of miles apart. We're practically on the other side of the world from each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a blast. I love it. I mean, I just love attending live chats. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And it's opened up the whole hobby for me because I get to see what other people do. I get to talk shop with them, like what you and I were just talking about. And I'll tell you, Peter, I absolutely love it. It's great. And making connections with people around the world. I mean, it just makes something I like even better.
So you must have a pretty big collection of built models, right?
I've got about 50 right now. A lot of those I built earlier when I was a kid. Those meant the firecrackers on the 4th of July, big holiday in America, Independence Day. Right. So we would, like what we would do, we'd build our old, Aurora and Monogram warships like the Bismarck and the King George, and we'd put model glue on them and a couple firecrackers on them. We'd light the firecrackers and float it into the local lagoon and watch it explode. The glue would catch fire. We watch it sink. It was kind of like our own little model. It was like our own little war movie we made.
Okay.
So a lot of my old models, I wish I hadn't done it, but
I bet
they met the firecrackers, and so what I have now is what I've been building since 2000. So I'm frankly starting to run out of room. I mean, I'm going to have to start finding a way to donate them or do something with my finished kits. I don't want to just bin them. I'd like to donate them.
Well, maybe there's like coffee shops or some places around that you could just give them to, and they got a bit of room in a display cabinet or on a shelf somewhere. That's my intention over here.
Right. I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's tons of places everywhere that, cafes, restaurants, whatever. And I'm going to give mine away like that and have them on display. And what I'm working on now is finding a tiny little wooden plaque of some sort. And I'm going to write Scalemodeling YouTube on there, and I'm going to sit that next to the model so people can go, and a bit of free advertising, and people might
get the word out. Give them your name as well as your product. To that point, one of the things that's disappeared, and I'm sure it's probably the same in Australia too, is brick and mortar hobby shops. They're gone. For the most part, they're a thing of the past, and that's okay. I'm not lamenting it. It's just how it is. But there would have been a perfect medium for people like us to, to give those finished models to if they would have been interested. There is an air base out here, a very small, well, not an air base, excuse me, an air museum. And it's right next to a small airport, not too far away, about 15, 20 miles. And I went in there last September with a couple of friends of mine, and the people who run it said, if you've got stuff you'd like to donate, we'll gladly take it, both unassembled kits and finished models. So, I mean, and books too. I've got tons of books that, I'm looking at them right now, and it's like, either donate them to a library or find somebody I could give them to, because a lot of them I use for reference and I don't really need anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And like being on my own as well, what's the point of me displaying my models that I'm only going to see, Right. I'd rather share it and show other people. I mean, sure, I could take photos and share them on the internet and everything, but, I could be bringing new people into the hobby if they see something in a shop they're sitting at, or their kids might see that and go, oh, look at that,
How about that hobby shop that you go to?
But you're right. Yes. Yeah, they've been really good. They've offered me space in their displays. They got a couple of big display cases at the entrance to the store there. They're happy for me to put my models in there and even put a price tag on them if I wanted to.
Excellent.
But their business has picked up a little bit thanks to me. I think a lot of local expats that live in Chiang Mai I have the feedback I get is that they've gone, oh, I haven't built a model since I was a kid, or I haven't built a model since my kids were like my kids.
Right.
I showed it to them, and they're interested, and then they're going down to this store and picking up models. They actually sold on my video there. I showed they had the Lancaster.
Yeah.
There it was for about 1,000 Australian dollars. 24,000 Thai baht. They sold that a few weeks later. That was great. So it was. But yeah, they're good. They're giving me a discount. They're really good, and I'll go down and do another video. They're doing a restock of the store in late May, so
Okay.
I'll go down there and do a part 2 of that video.
Nice, nice. Yeah. I think you could make a little money maybe on the side if you want to, dusting their shelves. I mean, they could use some housekeeping there.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
If you got a minute, I'm going to turn I'm going to turn my computer. I got a couple of finished models I wanted to show you.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
These are some of the recent projects I've done.
Trip on Two Wheels has just donated.
Yeah, I see that.
$19.99.
Good for you, Trip. Thanks. There you go. I'm gonna try and get them a little bit closer.
Thank you. I'll bring you up full screen and we'll have a look at that. Where are we? I think it's that one. There we go.
All right.
Look at
this
that,
one
people.
here, that's my Tamiya Achilles M10 tank destroyer. That's the British version with the 17-pounder gun on it. This is a beautiful kit. This is a real joy to build. If you want to build a simple kit that turns out to be a great finished product, I really urge this. I really advise on this one because it's very user friendly. It builds well. And it's a great either build it straight out of the box and it's beautiful, or create some extra detail with a detail set, or scratch build some stuff if you want. And I really like it. Are you seeing it well? Is that coming through?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good.
I'm right now. I'm going about the process of adding some extra gear to it, and I still haven't installed the crew yet. I've got them painted in the other room. The only one I got right now is the driver. And I'll tell you what, this thing is a dream to build. This is what I'm talking about. Tamiya, modern day Tamiya kits, they make the building experience a pleasure for the modeler. This thing was a joy to build. I thoroughly had fun with this, and it comes apart like an onion, and it can go together very, very simply too. Let's see if I can do it here. The hull comes off. There's the interior.
Oh,
very
wow.
basic, rudimentary interior. It's not all that much. You actually get more in the Academy kit, but I didn't care. I knew what I wanted to use this for, and this thing just fits right back on there like that, and bingo.
Oh, wow.
Good to go.
I wish my MiniArt tank came apart like that to show off the interior. That's a great option. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can glue it on if you want. I plan on eventually securing it down. But right now I want to leave it open because I plan on putting mud and dirt in the suspension, but I'm just not sure how I'm gonna do that yet. And then the other one here, this one, that's a little bit of an oldie but a goodie. That is there we go. That is the Messerschmitt BF109 G6, and this is an old kit. In fact, hold on a second. I'll show you the box cover.
Yeah.
Let me sneak that in there.
Oh, wow.
That is an oldie. Here, let me get this up. There we go.
Okay.
That is
never heard of that.
Here we go. There we go. There we are. That is one of those kits that I saw on that shelf of that hobby shop when I was 12, and I said, I want this. That box is very nostalgic to me. In fact, I'm saving it for that reason. So anyway, this is the model. I've always liked this, and I finally got one built the way I wanted it, and I love it. I love it a lot. Thanks very much, Andrew. Appreciate that.
That looks great.
Yes, the Firefly and the Achilles. I've developed a real taste for British World War II armor. I've got the TACOM Grant tank under construction right now, and I've got the oh my gosh, I've got a Ryefield Firefly ready to go, not ready to go, but in the queue. But anyway, back to this thing. It's a beautiful little kit. I use some of the kit decals, and the rest I borrowed from a from my scrap box. But I'm very, very happy with the way this thing turned out. You know, the side fuselage with the mottling pattern on there, that was always a challenge for me. But I got it right, and I really like it. Can you see it well in there? Is that coming across?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks good.
So anyway, it's this is the one I most recently finished. I've got a all right, we'll turn myself back to my beautiful face. Okay, you can go split screen again, Peter.
Yeah, I will do that. Where are we? Exit solo layout. Good.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. And thanks everyone for all your James Carnahan. Thanks very much. Thanks everyone for your compliments. It's nice. See what I'm saying? It's a blast to share work. It really is. This stuff would be sitting in a cabinet with only my eyes seeing it, and here I am sharing it with people all around the world.
That's right. That's all about the inspiration that keeps you going.
Right. I just want to answer Paul Price. He's got a question there. Are you finding the TACOM instructions? TACOM instructions are okay. They're not nearly as confusing as Dragon or some others, but they're kind of bland. I mean, it's you were talking about how things are just no part description at all. It's just glue this to this, bing, bang, boing. But as far as the fit goes on that Grant, I'll tell you, I recommend it. It's a multi-piece kit that fits together very well. I'll give them great marks on their engineering. It was something that I was kind of wondering how this is going to turn out, and it turned out great. I've got it in the other room. It's buried under a few other boxes because I started it, but I had problem with the track links. I'm not very good at link and length tracks yet. And
I've got to do that.
The ones that come in the kit, and I am I'm in search of a set of track links for that Grant. So it's on hold, but it's a nice model. I'd recommend it to anyone who wants to build it. So
what type of model have you not built? Like, have you done cars or not done cars?
Well, I used to build cars when I was very young. That's when I first started building because, like I said, my brother built those. I built cars, I built trucks. And they all came out. I mean, first of all, I'm finding my way around. When we're kids, you don't know what a seam line is. You don't know what a mold seam or photo etch. You know what I mean.
You're not going to worry about that mirror finish paint job on the bonnet.
Exactly. But they kept coming out pretty ugly. So I turned to military because I saw, wow, you don't even like jets and like Vietnam era American jets and stuff like. You don't have to make them look great. They look better the dirtier they are. So I kind of turned to military, and like I said, my best friend who lives upstairs, he was building kits at the same time, and I just started following him what he was doing. And but at one time I would like to go back to building cars. I do have a couple. My older brother sadly passed a few years back, but he did have some nice Tamiya models in his stash. A couple of mostly 1/20th scale cars. I gave a couple to a friend of mine. Remember the old Elf F1 dual front suspension car? I gave that to a friend of mine, and he built it, and it looks really nice. But I got a couple of his still in my stash, and I'd like to build one because I would like to kind of branch out. I mean, I'm kind of linear in what I do. It's 48 scale aircraft and it's 35th scale armor, and it's mostly World War II. I have built a few jets. I have built a few, bits and pieces here and there, but it would be nice to branch out. So I would like to try some. James is asking, have you built any helicopters? I built one way back when. I built the monogram Mi-24 Hind. The Russian helicopter, the gunship, and it came out pretty nice. But that was one of those that I kept breaking parts off of, trying to dust it, and those damn rotors. And eventually, I just junked it because I had so many broken parts. It just discouraged me. I wish I hadn't got rid of it. It was a nice model. It really was.
Yeah, I would love to try my attempt on a good car, but when I got it wrong. When I moved to Thailand, I thought, right, I'm going to move into a condo that has no carpet, because I had such a big dust problem with the carpet in my place back in Sydney that I thought, how the hell am I ever going to spray a beautiful mirror finish bonnet or body of a car and not get dust in it? It would have been impossible. But over here, I find there's probably even more dust in the air. So Yeah, and plus I do my airbrushing out on the balcony. You know, I
Okay.
sit out there in 40-degree heat airbrushing. Can you
Whew.
imagine that?
Well, today it's pretty warm and humid here in Chicago, in the Chicagoland area. It's much warmer than usual for this time of year, and I've got a spray booth in my apartment down here. If I have the dehumidifier running, I can keep the air kind of dry, but I tend not to spray too often in very humid conditions. The paint doesn't seem to behave very well. It seems to take a little longer to dry. And I've got a dust problem here too. Even with the spray booth, I'm still getting little dust follicles showing up on my models. It's pretty frustrating because we've invested a good buck in the both the compressor, which is a good one, and the spray booth, which has got a fan that blasts the air out the window. We've got a ducted tube, kind of like a dryer duct. It goes out the window. We can remove it when we want to and put it back. And I'm still getting dust on these things. So I got a plant sprayer. And sometimes, if I remember, I'll blast the inside of the spray booth with a little bit of water, and I'll soak up the excess with a paper towel, and it minimizes the dust. But I'm still having a tremendous dust problem. I mean, I was just priming a model the other day, and I had to go over with a Trizac pad to get rid of these little follicles that were just seemingly falling out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? What am I doing wrong? So I hear you, man. I know what you mean.
Yeah. Oh well, that's good.
So how did you get started in your hobby?
Oh, me. Well, I started modeling not long after I started not long before I started the YouTube channel. So, which is time's going by, isn't it? 3 years ago. So that was my first model. As a kid, I don't remember building any scale models. I was more into the roller skates, skateboards, scooters, and BMX bikes, and that was my thing. But not modeling. So I was into computers. I was into computer gaming in a big way. Then I got into building my own computers, modifying, stress testing, and doing all the stuff with PCs. And there was a guy I was watching following who, for some reason, he built the Bismarck model ship 350 scale Bismarck, and I thought, wow, that looks pretty cool. And I thought, I'll go, and I started searching and looking at model building, and then next minute I'm out there buying the British ship called the Cornwell, which is a 350 scale Cornwell. Yeah, Trumpeter.
The one of those county cruisers that the British had.
Yeah. So I built that, and I thought, this is good, and I think it was. Yeah, I wasn't working at the time, so I quit work. This was when COVID kicked off, and I'd moved to Sydney, not by choice, only because in Australia they closed all the borders, so I couldn't go back to Queensland where I came from. They shut the border.
Oh, really? They even kept you in the province
within the states. We couldn't go outside the states.
Okay.
And then it got worse, of course.
Right. Yes, it did.
Particularly where I lived in Sydney, was one of the worst spots with restrictions in the whole country, where I couldn't go more than 5 kilometers from my house, from where I lived, for a while there.
Yeah, that was.
But anyway,
the world was going to hell. That was a crazy time. It's hard to remember that it was only a few years ago. Sometimes.
Yeah. So I got straight into the modeling, and then it just kicked off, and I started building, and it was really good. Enjoyed it. And then I'm watching other people on YouTube, and I thought, well, I could do this on YouTube too, I suppose, share what I'm doing. It doesn't look too hard. So I started videoing I don't remember the first build. I'd have to go back and look, but I just started doing them on YouTube, and people are enjoying it. And I'm living on my own, and all my family up in Queensland that I couldn't go back to. It was good to have a community out there to interact with, and that just drew me in even more. So that's how
thank goodness for the internet during the pandemic. I mean, that's how I was keeping in touch with a lot of people too. We had our own restrictions, but in America there isn't. It's United States in name only. There's very few things that people in this country are united on, and COVID was just another example of that. We had a lot of states going one way or the other, and others were more serious about it. So it all depends on where you live. But where I was in Illinois, they took it pretty seriously as far as like, all right, mask mandates were in place for a while. Then they were relaxed, then they were brought back. I'm sorry, I'm taking away from your time, but I was just saying that during that time I was tuning into a lot of. In fact, that's pretty much how things took off for me as far as this whole live chat and getting to know people on the internet. When I moved in here, I got an unlimited data stream. The router and everything that I'm hooked into. Before that, I had my own metered kind of setups in my apartment back in Chicago. I didn't have a dedicated line hookup, so I couldn't really be online all the time. More with my phone. More with this than with my PC. So I move in here, and all of a sudden, people like yourself, they found themselves locked down, and people were starting and creating channels. So I've thought about this, but I would need to invest in some equipment, and you've got someone to help you too. That's tremendous. I mean, I know a few tech guys I could talk to and kind of lean on to, like, okay, get a camera installed, how to better use my computer, switch back and forth between one input or the other, share screen. I don't know any of that stuff.
Yeah. Andrew's just saying there, he's right. Melbourne had the worst. They had the longest lockdowns. And they kept coming. I know.
Year and a half. Wow.
18 months.
Holy cow.
I came down to Sydney from Brisbane just for a week to visit my son. And that week turned into 2 years.
Oh,
so,
wow.
I mean, what do you do, so it was crazy. But a lot of the hobby took off, like most hobbies. It went berserk because everybody was in lockdown.
Yes, it did. You're right.
Shops went out of business that didn't have an online presence because people couldn't go out and buy the models. So postage went through the roof.
Yep.
But, it's unfortunate that a lot of people and businesses weren't prepared for the come down when things started opening up again. If you didn't have an online presence, you really struggled. And then Jeff's there just mentioning he must have gone back.
Yeah, I see that. 350th hood.
It was the hood, was it? Okay, it was my hood. Yeah, that was.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I like the idea of you building warships because I built those when I was a kid. I built a lot of Revell and Monogram and Aurora box scale ships. They kind of like whatever size the box was. That's how they scaled the model. So I built a whole bunch of those. I built the Arizona, the Yorktown, the Enterprise, the Hornet, the King George, the King George V, I didn't build any of the Tamiya waterline kits. Like I said, those were a bit pricey for me as a kid back then. But I can admire a really nice, well-made ship model because I'll tell you what, that kind of detail is tough for me to do with my hands and my eyes. I just don't have the touch for that.
When I started the channel, the theme was ships, and that's what I started building, and I was right into ships, and I kept with that. But then I expanded a little bit, and I think I went, well, submarine is sort of a ship, so I did a submarine.
Well, you can make some awesome U-boats and stuff,
Well, and then so is an X-Wing and a Battlestar, a Death Star from Star Wars, so they're still ships. So I built a couple of those, and I made a helicopter because it was a helicopter gunship, so still ship. Tanks were known as land ships.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Originally. Well, the tank was built under the guise of oh my God, the Royal Navy. Churchill, when he was overseeing the production of the first tanks, they guised it with terms. Well, look at what tanks are called. They've got a hull. There's a bow. There's a superstructure. There's an upper hull, a lower hull. It's all. Yeah, I see that. Trip on two wheels. Yeah, you built Monogram, Revell, Hasegawa. Sure, those are all the stuff that was on the shelves of my hobby shops too.
Yeah. So, but then of course, I like to expand out a bit, so I. Started with other things, and
I like your motorbikes. I mean, I've
motorbikes
to do motorcycles, but I like watching other people build subjects that I myself may or may not do, because I tell you what, those Tamiya bikes, those are really nice models.
They're great, especially the 1/12 scale ones.
Yes.
And the Tiger's another nice bike I'd like to do. I think that's a 1/6 scale.
Wow, that's big.
It's a shame they didn't have my Suzuki V-Strom, but they have the Kawasaki Ninja, which I had. So I built that. So that was cool. Yeah, I enjoyed the bikes. I enjoyed the detail. I enjoyed doing the.
I like the buses you do. Those are subjects I never thought of, and I really enjoy seeing you put those together. That's really fun.
I'm gonna have to do another ship. I think I'm gonna have to do another ship. I was thinking about it the other day.
What do you got in mind?
Oh, there's one that keeps coming into my head. It's the one that I saw down at that hobby shop. It's an old one that I don't even remember what class or what it was. 350 scale. Yeah.
Okay.
Comes with a lot of photo etch. Scary part is it's a very old kit, so we'll see. I don't know.
That's you got my mind running now. I wonder what that is. Tamiya?
It can be a bit of a struggle getting hold of some of the parts you need and tools you need over here. So we have a company here. It's like Amazon. It's called Lazada, where you can order stuff. And just the other day, the other week, I bought super glue, right? Because I got to glue photo etch on this tank. And you need this CA glue. Yes. Problem is, you can't see, but it's like water in there. It's too fluidy. I needed like a gel or something.
Yeah, you need maybe a medium flow or a thick.
And I've used it once, and the whole thing is blocked up now. I can't use it anymore. It's just crap. This is just from a hardware store, and this is the only brand I can find here.
Okay.
But I did manage to get on and found some Altergott gel glue, which I've ordered, which is a tiny little tube, but it's a gel one, so that'll work.
Right.
Because I can apply that with a toothpick,
Right. Sure.
So I've ordered that, and that should come on Monday or Tuesday, and then I'll be right to start putting on my MiniArt photo etch.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I put in an order through.
I tried, and that doesn't hold photo etch.
No. Kids, there are some white glues that might work for some photo etch parts that you don't have to worry about holding onto or touching. But
why doesn't Hobby or Tamiya or somebody bring out a CA glue? They don't. There is none.
Well, one I was going to say is that one I found that works is
Icky Sticky.
Yep. I was going to say I have made contact with the U.S. distributor for Jason and Icky Sticky, and I've got an order that's coming in. And I bought some of their clear flexi super glue, because I've heard that the flexi glue has got a little bit of give, so it's not quite so brittle as regular super glue. So parts won't just ping right off a model after you install it. That's why they don't. I don't call it super glue anymore. I call it. See, there's nothing super about this stuff. Everything breaks off. It's just not. It's meant to hold it, but it's not meant to have anything else done to it. Don't you dare touch it. So.
Yeah,
I ordered a bunch of Icky Sticky products. I'm really looking forward to it, because I saw what's it? Bob's Hobby Shop and RC, I think, is a place in Arkansas here in the States, and the proprietor was a guest last week. Ed is his name, he's I put the order in with him, and I ordered a few other items, Icky Sticky stuff, because I want to see what they got to offer. I've heard a lot of good stuff about them.
Oh, it's brilliant stuff. Really is. And I used it all the time. I mean, I brought back what I could over here. I couldn't bring their glues or anything. I used the knives and all her stuff and the files and that. I tried to go on the website, and when I put in my address as Thailand, they don't deliver here. But I'm pretty sure if I'll contact Monique and let her know. And I'm sure she could arrange something, because I need to stock up, and I need that glue because I really miss it. I really miss the glues.
That's a shame, because I was just about to say, well, can't you order Icky Sticky? I mean, you're a lot closer to Australia than I am.
Yeah, no, it came up as it wouldn't accept where I am, but that may have been because the order I put in was for the glues and postage of glues and those sort of fluids and stuff is a bit different to other things, you know. So
yeah. Well,
maybe
that's
it was
true.
just
That's true.
fact.
Yeah,
but I will
talking about
contact her.
Talking about things you can't get. I mean, I think I've mentioned this more than once, but for instance, with Tamiya or Tamiya products, I can get the enamel panel line wash, and I can get their regular X28 thinner, and I can get their regular lacquer thinner here in the States, but I can't get their enamels, and I can't get their enamel thinner, and I can't get the lacquer thinner with retarder, which is like orange cap thinner. But anyway, people in Europe can get it.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether you can there, but you have Tamiya enamel paints, I think, right?
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
And
so,
I think you have. Is it Mr. Surfacer you have problems getting the?
Well, I've heard that, and I hope it's not the case because I stocked up. I've got like a couple bottles of the 1500 black, and I've got a bottle of the 1000 mahogany, and I've got the 500. I use the 500 for casting texture on armor. It's great stuff. I love it, but I hope it's not going to be a problem. I really do, because that stuff is just the bomb. I mean, it is the best. Mr. Hobby paints, the lacquers, Mr. Hobby leveling thinner, the Mr. Hobby surfacer stuff, all top notch to me. I mean, I can't say enough good about those products, and I really hope that does not go away for us in America. I really don't.
Yeah, I see Andrew mentioning putting a pin.
Here. Keep the super glue in the fridge. It's true. It's true, but put it in a plastic bag. It's kind of freaky having it next to your vegetables.
Yeah, and also it'll thicken the glue as well. It won't flow.
Well, it will. It won't even if thicken it. It will keep it in its natural form. It'll keep it from. I don't know about you, but I've had containers of super glue just go rock hard on me. I used it like once or twice, and I don't know, maybe air got in there or something, but it cured. It's like, frick, man, I spent like $8 on this thing, and now I just got to throw it out in the trash.
Yeah.
So super glue is tough to work with. I mean, and I don't buy big containers anymore. I buy small ones. Whatever kind I'm buying, I buy the small one. Like when I bought the Icky Sticky, I ordered the smallest one they got. Because if it's going to go foul on me, and I'm not saying the product's bad. I'm just saying that maybe my environment isn't conducive to it. But if it goes bad, I'm only losing X amount. Because I bought the bigger ones before, and it went to hell in a handbasket, and I was like, oh well, there goes that amount of money. Now I got to buy it again. So
James is mentioning Zap works well. I've seen that brand.
Zap again has got a lot of products, and they, I believe they're a U.S. based manufacturer. I see them in all the hobby shops. Well, all the hobby shops. There's 2 hobby shops in my area. There's 2.
Yeah, I'll do what Andrew mentioned too, putting a pin in it to keep the nozzle from blocking up.
You can put a pin in it, that will help, but the best thing to do, I mean, especially with the longer the tube, the more likely you are to have that tube fill with super glue. When it dries, you need a drill to get through it.
Yeah, look at the length of that.
Exactly. The length of that tube can be a hindrance. It can be a help.
And I know that if I try and unblock that, I'm going to end up wearing the shit, and I don't want that to happen.
No, you're right. I remember one time I cut the top of one with a pair of scissors, and I don't know if it was some kind of chemical reaction, but all of a sudden the glue started gushing out of the bottle. Excuse me, like an oil well, and I just had to throw it out. I mean, it wouldn't stop. It wouldn't stop flowing out of there. It's like, what the hell did I do? Jeez.
Wow,
that stuff's hard to figure out sometimes. I tell you, it's kind of, and I think it's also the quality of the manufacturer. I really think that does matter, because I bought some regular hardware store super glue that works great. Loctite is one brand. They work great and they last forever. And then there's brands you buy like are meant for hobby use, like in RC modeling and stuff. And then it's crap. It goes stringy. It loses its strength and viscosity. It won't last. And it's like,
that's right.
Frick, what's going on here? So it's super glue, the foibles of super glue. I can tell you, I wonder how much money I've invested in super glue over the years. Probably a lot,
Wow. All right. Well, I'm going to wind things up. I've gone over time well and truly because I was late, so fair enough there. But I need to get my makeup artist in and prepare for my next live stream in a couple of hours.
And I will be tuning in, sir. I will be in the audience, just to let you know. So
see if I can get lucky and sneak down and grab my banana and honey roti for breakfast.
Yeah.
Hopefully she'll be open. But
yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Peter. It was a great pleasure to spend time with you, chat, talk some models, share with the people in the audience.
Mate,
thank you so
you're
very
welcome.
much.
We'll get you back on again, and we might get 3 people on. We'll try and see if anybody there in chat has a camera and is not afraid of not shy. Just send me an email, let me know, and we'll get you on here if you're available.
Yeah, just go to Peter's Hotmail.
More the better.
That's where I sent you the email last week. So
that's it. Yeah. So you can
go.
You'll find my email address is usually in the about section on the channel, but it's I'm trying to remember which one I use. Was it my name at Hotmail? Was it, or the Gmail address?
I use the Hotmail one because I remember I went down to the bottom of your all the links in your description and I just picked the Hotmail one. That seemed the one the most likely to make contact.
Yeah, so it's just my name, Peter Holroyd.
Yeah, right. That's it. And I remember I sent you a message on the live chat to say that, hey, I sent you a message in your Hotmail so that you knew my email address was there. So thanks again for the invite. It was a great. A pleasure to talk and make contact with you, and look forward to doing it again if you'd have me. I'd be grateful.
Well, we'll take a vote on it with the viewers and see what they thought. I'm sure it'll be fine. No problem at all.
No problem. Hey, with my good looks, we're bound to be a great team, right?
For sure. All right. Well, let me just find my outro music. Everybody's saying goodbye to each other in chat. Thank you all for coming in again. On Tuesday, obviously, we've finished the build of the Formula One car, which I loved, and I'll definitely build another one. The Monkey motorbike's coming on well. It's only 4 videos for the end of that, so that'll be on next week. That'll come out, and then you'll be catching up on my tank build.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
In a couple of weeks, part 1 of that, and hopefully we'll catch up to where I'm at, so it's more in line with what I'm at, because I like to have the videos there so when people comment and offer suggestions, I can go, oh, okay, rather than, oh, well, I did it 3 weeks ago. It's no point.
Yes, I get it. I understand. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all again, and we'll see you all next week. Okay.
So long, everyone. Bye-bye.
Everybody. Where are we? Where's my exit video? My jingle we all love. There it is. Okay.